So hi, it's been a while, and I thought I'd make this video because now we've started to think about changing car or getting a new car. And it's been going on for a while. I mean, we have I don't know how many remember, but right now we have a 2015 Nissan Leaf with a 24 kilowatt hour battery pack in it. And I mean, still, it just does the job for us as well as it did the day we got it. At this point, the battery degradation on the Leaf is that it's lost 1 bar, so it's down to like 81% of state of health, kind of. So it's not terrible, and it does just fine. The reason we are thinking about getting another car or a new car is basically that the Leaf has the quick charging port, the shadow port, and the problem is that is not a standard that is growing that rapidly here in Europe. In Europe, the CCS standard is what comes. I mean, if you get 10 new charging locations, then you'll basically have like at every location you're lucky at if there's like one shadow at like one or two of the sites. And with an electric car with limited range, then that's not really viable if that's your only car. If it's your runabout or your secondhand car for basically use it for commutes to your work, then it's a dream car for that. And then the other thing is that I don't know, it was like 1 month ago, Nissan killed off the app support for the car because the car uses the 2G network for communication, and in Sweden the 2G and 3G networks are going to be closed down 31st of December 2025, so next year. So Nissan they just wanted to get rid of the car. And I mean, Nissan's connection to these cars have been, as many people say, it's been really problematic. But we had one period, I don't know, a couple of years ago, they shut it down because there was some security breach of some sort. So you could basically remotely access the heating on the car, so you could drain the battery for people. So they shut it down for a couple of months to fix that issue. And I've had like 2 or 3 times since we got the car in 2016 that it hasn't worked for periods of time. I can't say that I really had the problems that people have been talking about. Like if you look at forums on the internet, then for some people it doesn't work at all. It's been really buggy, but we never had that problem really. No. So, I mean, I don't really see the problem there. But that's really the main issue. That and the range, not the range, but the fast charging or the lack of fast charging going forward, and the app support. I think the app support is actually the biggest problem to be able to get started, especially in winter, when you have snow and ice outside. Because sure, if you're going on a schedule every day, so you're commuting Monday to Friday every same time every day, then it's not a problem because you can still set that in a car. But we mostly don't use the car like that. We will be in the middle of winter. We'll be like, oh, let's go there, or let's go there. Let's go to my fiance's parents. And we can come up with that in the morning. So we haven't set a schedule for preheating, or charging for that matter. And we always set it on the 80% charge. So like if we're like, oh, well, let's go on a longer trip, then before you just go into the app and say start charging, it would take like an hour or two, 1.5 hours to get up to 100%. So, but now you can't do that. So you have to go out the car and do that physically. And I don't know how far is the car parked away from our house. I don't know. It's not really that far, but still, it's you're used to it. That and the shadow situation. And so that's really the main issues. But as I said, if you have it as your second car, then it's still a dream for most people, I think, or a commuter car. So we've started looking at cars, and what we did was basically we started looking at tried a Hyundai Kona. And this is a car that there's a lot of in Sweden. This was very popular for private leasing back in when I think this model came out in 2019. And it's a very, very small SUV. But the thing is, with these cars, that today you can get them for basically the same price that we got our Leaf, and let's say it in euros. I mean, I think we paid 23,000 something for the Leaf, and you can get one of these Konas, a 2019 or a 2020 year model, for basically the same money, 24,000 euros, and it's done like 50,000 K. So that's not a problem. And if we can just move on here, then I mean, it looks decent enough, but I mean, we got one and tried it for like a day or two, and the thing is that looking at the car in pictures like this, it looks like a small SUV, and the problem is it is small. That's the main problem. If you look at it here, you can see the interior, it looks nice, but one thing that really bothered me was that, you know, this tunnel here, it seems like, oh, it's smart to get everything up, but it makes me feel cramped in the car. And then down here, there's a storage compartment. It's big, and there's one here too, of course, but this storage compartment here is totally useless. Like, you can put things there, but you better put things there before you're about to go away, start driving, and be aware that these things are not something that I'm going to need while out driving, because you are simply not getting to those things. So it's a nice storage compartment. Like, for example, there's a small outlet down here. So if you even if you're on the passenger side and you go, oh, I need to charge my laptop, and you start trying to get down there, I don't know, it looks nice when you look at it, but in reality it's terrible. Otherwise, I mean, driving wise, really nice. The one we tried didn't have leather seats, but and the cloth seats, they felt a little bit uncomfortable. They were short. I don't know, something about it. Here you see again, it's like you realize that if you're sitting here with your legs, then you're not getting in there. If you're gonna put something in there, you better do that before you start driving. It's not happening otherwise. And this whole console makes it feel really cramped. If you're two people in front of the car, sure, I mean, it's totally doable, but it felt like a compromise in many, many ways. Yeah. Here's the back seat, and once again, there's a reason that sellers, car dealers, will take this kind of picture, because the leg room back here, it's hard to see once again, but this back seat is small. I mean, the leg room is terrible. I don't remember if they actually had a picture of this is the infotainment system. It has, you know, and it has all the tech you need. That's not a problem with the Konas. Oh, here we go. So this area here, as you can see, they put one wheel here, and it's really small. This is a lot smaller than it is on the Leaf, because the width is probably like, the Leaf is probably even a little bit more wider. It's bigger this way, a little bit, but it's a lot deeper. That's the thing. So it's a lot smaller than the Leaf. So we tried that, and the thing is, it has a 64 kilowatt hour battery, and we borrowed it. It was like 20 degrees Celsius outside, and I drove a stretch of like 220 kilometers back and forth, running different places. And it was a combination of like 90 kilometers an hour road, 80, 70. So it wasn't terrible like that. And looking at the consumption, because this car has a really low consumption for being this kind of shape. When I looked at it afterwards, like at those conditions, you could have driven the car over 600 kilometers and still only gone down to like 4%. Like if the car would have been at 100%, I think it was at 60 when I got it, and I only charged it at home overnight. But still, from 100 down to 4%, you'd get over 600 kilometers out of the car. So that was really nice. But it basically came down to, it wasn't really that comfortable in the front seats. And basically, usually we were just two people in the car, but not really that comfortable. Felt cramped. And back here, it's not something feasible, because we're planning on getting a new car, and we're going to have it for, the Leaf we've had at this point for 8 years, a little bit more than 8 years. So, yes, this is just too cramped, not really for us. So we started looking, and this is the car we started looking at from the beginning, the Hyundai IONIQ. And we started looking at the 20, let's call them 28 and 38, the 28 model, which means that it has 28 kilowatt hours of usable energy in the battery. And the 28 has the advantages that if it charges decently fast, it runs at 70 kilowatts from 0 up to like 70% something when it's not too cold outside. And it's really, once again, this was the efficiency champ when it came out in 2016, 2017 in Sweden. And still, I mean, it uses basically no energy at all. So you get like 220, 30, 40, 50 kilometers out of it in summer without a problem. And then you charge it up in like 20 minutes to 80%. So it's a really good car. Once again, the one or two things that really decide, because this we're looking at right now, and you can see that in the front here, these two intakes here, tells you that this is not a 28 kilowatt hour version of the car, because if it had been, then it would have been, this is just a flat surface. This is the 38 kilowatt hour version of the Hyundai IONIQ. And you might think, oh, so it has 10 kilowatt hours more, that's it. Yeah, well, that's the big thing. But the thing with this car is that, first of all, the 28 kilowatt hour version never had app support. So you see, that was a deal breaker. Where's the 2020 year model? Because the 38 kilowatt hour version only came out for one model year, and that was 2020. So the 38 has app support, and also the 28 kilowatt hour version has some kind of, I don't know, drive assist. That's called LKA, lane keep assist. Whereas the 38 has something called LFA, which is lane follow assist. And you might think, oh, but that sounds basically the same. Well, it's not. The LKA system will just pawn you between the lines terribly. It's more there so you try to relax your drive so you don't have to be steering all the time. Whereas the lane follow assist that the 38 kilowatt hour version has will drive for you. It will stay in the middle of the lane, and it's not a Tesla autopilot, but it's a lot closer to it than the LFA system in the 28 kilowatt hour version. So it has better driving aid, it has app support, and has the bonus of actually having 10 kilowatt hours more in the battery, so it'll go further on one charge. The one downside on this car, and that everyone talks about, is that it has very slow fast charging. Some people I've talked to will even say that it doesn't have fast charging. Of course it has fast charging. The thing is that it tops out at like 47 kilowatts at the charging station. It will never go over that. But charging it from 0 up to 80% will take you about 50 minutes. And since you have a lot better range in it, because the efficiency of the car is still the same as the 28 kilowatt hour version, it also has more horsepower. It has like 10 more horsepower, and that has more to do with the fact that it got heavier with the bigger batteries. So to compensate, so the specs, 0 to 60 and everything like that is the same. But basically, so you want to charge it from like 0 to 57%, I think it is, because that's where it cuts off from the 47 kilowatts down to like 30 or like 35 something. So getting it up to 80, if you stop, then it will take you 50 minutes. But if you look at like a better route planner and you're going somewhere far away, even if you're driving like 700-800 kilometers, you're doing like 2 or 3 stops, and they won't be the 48 minutes or 50 minutes. It will be like 13 at one charger. It will be 25 at some chargers. So the reality of it is that you stop for approximately the same time as you do in the Leaf. Like if it's a little bit colder outside, or if you need to get to those 80%, then it will take basically the same time it does on the Leaf. Like if it's really hot outside, the Leaf will get you from 10 to 80 in 20 minutes. This will take longer, but on the other hand, the Leaf has a range of like 100 kilometers. This will easily do over 300. The VLTP range on it is 311, but that's based on, I think it's the average that it's looking at is like 138 watt hours per kilometer. But if you look at, there's one video on YouTube where a guy, runs on Autobahn. He does a 90 test, 110 test, 130, and 140. And I mean, the range on this car He did these tests at 23 degrees outside temperature. It was dry, so optimal conditions basically. But driving at 90 kilometers an hour, he when he did the test, like, he uses 104 watt hours per kilometer. It's just nothing. From 0 to 100, from 100% down to 0, it will do 352 kilometers at a more, standard usable range, 80 to 50, 264 kilometers. So well over the VLTP, because the VLTP is 100% of the battery. Jump up to 110, which is the decent speed. It will do 299 kilometers from 100 to 0, and from 85%, it will do 225 kilometers. At 130 kilometers, now in Sweden, the highest you can drive in Sweden is 120 kilometers an hour. So it's somewhere between the 130 and 110 is what, it's interesting for me. Well, whatever, 130 kilometers an hour, as you can see, it will do 249 kilometers or 187, and at 140, the highest he tried, the car will do 160 kilometers an hour. But he tried it at 140, and it would do 187 kilometers or 140. These are exceptional numbers, because if you start thinking about it, once again, there's only 38 kilowatt hours, 38.3 kilowatt hours available in the battery pack of the car. And driving at the fastest you can drive in Sweden legally, you are basically up on the VLTP numbers of the car that are 311 kilometers an hour. And the usage of power at 110 kilometers an hour, 134 watt hours per kilometer, that's what the Leaf will do like at 70 kilometers an hour. So it's a very efficient car. But as I said, this is the car we've been looking at, not necessarily this car, but this model. And as I said, one model year, the top spec of it, and this is a top spec, it has all the comforts you want. It has leather seats, it has electric driver's seat. If this would have been a full spec car, it would have had tinted back windows, which this doesn't have. It would have a Qi, or wireless charging here. It would have a symbol here that tells you that. It doesn't have that. That was €149 option. As for the tinted back windows, very common that those options were never chosen for some reason. And the infotainment system is a lot better in the 38 also. That's an upgrade apart from the drive assist systems and the app support. But a bigger screen, touch buttons for climate and whatnot. I don't know. I've tried this car or this model, and I don't know. Well, set it on auto, then hopefully it works. So instead, bigger screen. For some reason, all the IONIQ models have one USB outlet here, and that's for Android Auto. Of course, it would charge, but it has two 12-volt outlets in the front. It's like, why don't you have one and then one in the back, in the boot? No. So it has, I don't know, it's just some kind of symmetry. I don't know. It's just they all have it, but better to have it than not. Like if you have a cooler in the back, you just have to pull the cable through the car. Just a weird solution, I guess. The instrument cluster is more modern on the 38 kilowatt hour version, and that's the one we're talking about, so we can just keep it to that. And the buttons on the steering wheel is exactly the same, no difference. One option that is also very uncommon on these cars is that you could choose ventilated seats too. So it would this would be a rocker switch. So it would go forward for heating and backwards for cooling. That was a €340 option, I think. It had, like, if you have the top spec, the Premium Plus version, there would be three options you could get. So you could get the wireless charger here, you could get ventilated seats here, and you could get tinted back windows. Those are the options that were available. The reason I think a lot of the options were never optioned on the cars is because they were lease cars, a lot of them, And who wants to add money on a monthly leasing cost on a car that you're going to return in like 3 years? That's probably it. It's very common. But I've never seen one of these cars for sale in Sweden that were fully spec'd. and wireless charging. I mean, you can get a wireless charger for your car, put in an aftermarket. That's not a problem. As I said, electrically adjustable driver's seat. For some reason, only driver's seat. On the Kona that we looked at first, it's electrically adjustable both sides. Don't know why it's just driver, but it is. And the back buttons here, these are lumbar support buttons. So it has lumbar support, it has electric seats, and it also has memory. And it has 2 memory slots. And it also has this, if you enable it, it has this easy entry thing. So like when you stop the car, you turn it off, the seat will go to as backwards as it can, allowing you easier entry and exit to the car. The back seat is a lot more roomy. I don't know if it comes through here, but it is a lot more roomy. And this, when you have the top spec model, the Premium Plus, it has leather seats, electrical seats, and it has also heating for the back seats, 2-step heating on the most outsides. So like here and here, but not in the middle. And this middle thing here comes down, so you have 2 cup holders there too. No USB outlets though in the back. I don't know why, but they don't have that. I don't know. Don't they have a picture of the boot? Nope, they don't. But still, it's a longer car than the Kona. So, but most of all, it's more comfortable to ride in. When we tried the Kona, and the day after, then we tried the IONIQ, and the IONIQ is a lot better of a car. As people have pointed out, well, the fast charging is its Achilles heel. Well, it charges basically as fast as the Leaf, and this also has active cooling. With fluids going through the battery. So whereas the Leafs, the 40 kilowatt hour Leafs and the 63 kilowatt hour Leafs, they will start overheating, after like 2 or 3 rapid charger sessions. So it will start going really slow. This won't. So if you go on a longer trip, like 1,000 kilometers or whatever, this will be consistent in its semi-fast charging, you can call it, whereas the Leaf will go slower and slower, and the Leaf towards the end will be down to like we're talking a speed of like 21 kilowatt. So it will take like 2 hours to get to like the 80%, whereas this will consistently be the 50, I think it's 54 minutes they spec from 0 to 80. And well, as I said, if you go into Route Planner and go, okay, I want to spec out the car, or like I want to go on a road trip, then the charging stops will of course not be that long. They will be more in the ballpark of like 15 minutes, 25 minutes. That's where they are if you plot out that you want to go for a longer drive. So to show you what I mean, we've planned to do a road trip this summer, and if you would to do that in the 38 kilowatt hour IONIQ, then you can see that there's been, like if you're looking at it, then the charge stops aren't really that long. And I didn't actually put that in there, but this place here has a diner that has buffet. So we would probably stop there and eat for an hour or so. So it would have more charge than it says here, but whatever. So you can see that the charge stops are never in the ballpark of the 80%, like if you get a better route planner to plan a route for you. And up here, there's a motel, so we plan to drive up there, and they stop there for the night and charge there while sleeping. So therefore, if we scroll down here, you can see you can put that in there. So it will have 100%, when you wake up. That's of course how electric car driving works, especially on longer trips. So, the charge stops are never, and this is I put it in that we would go in August, so it uses seasonal weather. What that means, I don't really know. But so you can see that the charge stops are never that long as you think there would be. Like, the total amount of charge stops are, how many are there? 7. I don't know if it counts that as a charge stop. Maybe it does. I don't know. But still, 36 minutes, 26 minutes, 24, 29, 27, 13 minutes, 42. So, so on the first day, you would be doing 1, 2, and I wouldn't count this as a charge stop. If you stop here to eat for an hour, hour and a half, and you plan to do that anyways, it's really not a charge stop, but let's count that way, like 1, 2, 3, it's 4 charge stops to go there. I don't know, does it say how far that is? Yeah, you see, so that's almost 1,000 kilometers on then 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 if you want to count that, on 5 charge stops. Then the second day, it would be, I don't know, does it say how far we drove on the second? Yeah, 521 kilometers on 2 charge stops. And so this is actually how it would work, not going at it like, oh, it only charges at 47 kilowatts and it takes forever, because that's not how it looks. I mean, this is, for me, a totally usable plan. And a Hyundai IONIQ 38.3 kilowatt hour version is what we're looking at. So, well, that's about it. And once we've got a new car, I will update you with a new video, I guess. And I hope you found this one enjoyable, or at least interesting. So, well, I'll see you around then. Bye.